You ever wonder why some immigration lawyers get paid to argue about the difference between being somewhere and being somewhere else? It sounds like a riddle a wizard would give you, but it is actually one of the biggest tripwires in the entire naturalization process. Continuous residence is like your official address on file, the story your paperwork tells about where your life is based. Continuous physical presence is about your actual body, literally counting the days your feet touch the ground here. Picture two neighbors applying for citizenship on the same day. One took a 6-month vacation to visit family, and suddenly their continuous residence clock gets treated like it hit reset, even though technically they were still a resident on paper. That is the sneaky part most people miss. You can keep your green card and your address the whole time, and still trip the residence requirement just by being gone too long in one single stretch. Physical presence works completely differently, almost like a video game scoreboard. It just adds up every single day you are actually inside the country, no story required, just pure attendance. For most naturalization cases, you need 30 months out of the 5 years before you apply, or 18 months out of 3 years if you are married to a United States citizen. That is the physical presence math, cold and simple, like counting jelly beans in a jar. Continuous residence is judgier though, because it cares about intent and pattern, not just a running total. If you leave for one trip lasting 6 months or more, immigration officials assume you might have abandoned your residence unless you can prove otherwise. Proving otherwise usually means showing you kept your job, your apartment, your bank account, basically your entire life still anchored here like a ship that never actually sailed away. Miss that proof, and your continuous residence timeline can snap back to zero, forcing you to wait all over again. Here's where people panic unnecessarily though. A short vacation, even 2 or 3 weeks, generally does not break anything, so you do not need to cancel your dream trip to see the pyramids. The real danger zone starts creeping in around 6 months away, and it gets almost impossible to defend once you cross 12 months outside the country. At that point, continuous residence is basically considered broken automatically, no matter how good your explanation is. Now think about why the government even bothers splitting these into 2 separate rules instead of just one. Physical presence answers the question of how much time you spend here, while continuous residence answers whether your absences suggest you quietly moved your whole life somewhere else. It is kind of like the difference between how many hours you spent at the gym this year versus whether you ever technically canceled your membership. Both numbers matter, but they are measuring completely different kinds of commitment. A lot of people assume having a valid green card magically protects them from any of this, and that assumption alone causes a shocking number of denied applications. The green card proves you are allowed to be here, not that you never left long enough to threaten your eligibility timeline. The lesson buried in all of this is pretty simple, even though the rules sound complicated. Track your trips, know your numbers, and if a trip is creeping past 5 or 6 months, that is exactly the moment to get real legal advice instead of guessing. If you want to learn more about how immigration lawyers untangle situations exactly like this one, you want to check out our links in the description?